Welcome to the Southern U Podcast, brought to you by Darden Archery on the OKest Podcast Network, with your co-host, Matt Brock, Jeremy Ferguson, and Taylor McMurtry. If you're looking for all things land-related in the Southeast, you came to the right place. Whether it's real estate, habitat, wildlife, or just being outdoors, this is the place for you. Welcome to the Southern U. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Southern U Podcast. My name is Taylor. To my immediate left, for 2 shows in a row, is the AL Deer legend himself, Matt Brock.
Shut up.
Woo! And I wouldn't have done it, but he did it to me first off camera.
Right, off camera.
We heard it was off camera, but I heard it.
It was in public.
That's right. And to his immediate left, it's Mr. Jeremy Ferguson, Tough Man. And we have a very special show because of where we are and who we have as a special guest. Is that right, Phyllis?
That's it. Yeah, he's already been special today.
He has.
He's always special.
He is. You guys, special guest today, Mr. Marc Brenner, land manager, getter done of all things. That's right.
Turkey,
of all things.
Turkey killing machine.
Turkey killing machine. I should have said that to start with. He is a turkey killing fool.
Well, guys, first of all, it's great to be here. I think the world of every one of y'all. I thank y'all so much for everything y'all do for us as a whole, as the hunting industry and us game managers that are doing our best to try to facilitate the programs and help us, our clients, achieve their goals. So I will tell y'all, I appreciate what y'all do. You've helped make my job a lot easier. You've helped. I probably get more credit than I deserve, but it's because of folks like y'all. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD, but got a lot of sweat equity in here. That's right. And as Jeremy, you'll attest, you guys have been very instrumental in helping us produce the results we have for our clients. Well, so I thank each and every one of you.
Thank you,
Ray, as well. So thank y'all for your expertise and knowledge.
Me and you guys stick together because this is the very few times that I'm not outnumbered. All right. Usually it's 3 biologists and a not biologist, and it's 3 tut land guys and a not tut land guy. So I'm actually not outnumbered for once on this thing. So we got to stick together.
I completely understand where you're coming from. So
you see how we're sitting.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all all the way over there in one corner over there.
Yeah.
No, but
birds of a feather.
And I was going to make sure it was okay for us to disclose this week. Can we talk about the location here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There are just certain things that we're not allowed to talk about. I'll let Jeremy share that. But anyway, yeah, for the most part, we're good to go.
Okay. Well, okay. So yeah, we are
nothing about midgets,
right?
Oh gosh.
nor wrist injuries.
No, absolutely not. Okay.
I about lost my water.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, we are. We're at Kane Farms here, and this is a dove shoot that's to benefit the Turkey Hunters Hall of Fame, right, for the state of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
So really cool cause, and obviously we've already seen lots of birds here. We got, I mean, this morning when we got here, pretty early, there were lots of birds already kind of hanging out in the area.
Let's quantify that. We're dove hunting guys.
Yes,
so.
Yes. Sorry. I mean,
so not
season's
not
not
lots
open
of
yet.
turkeys. That's right. Lots of doves.
Yes.
The only turkey's George, wherever he's hanging out.
Yeah, I know.
We got to find Misty to find George.
We may get George on in just a few minutes.
That would be great.
I know. I wish we could get him to at least gobble in the background or something. And so
I know he'll strut.
Yes.
He's a strutting little fool.
But the reason that we are here, obviously, is for the event, but we have been talking a lot about trying to get Marc on and just everybody's schedules and trying to get together. Glad we finally got you able to sit down and talk about just what you do, but also this specific place, because like you said just a minute ago, you've got a ton of time, a ton of sweat equity into this place. And I know it means a lot to you.
Yes.
So I would just maybe like to talk about, a lot of guys on our podcast, they reach out to us and say, hey, look, I don't have 3,000 acres. I don't have giant tracts of land what can I do to improve mine for wildlife? What can I do to help my deer population or my turkey population? In this case, what can I do to get a premier, dove place, for a really relatively small acreage? So I think it'd be kind of cool just for us to kind of walk through what has happened just in the short time that I have been here, which I think I came 2 years ago was the first time that I had ever come here. And even then, just in that amount of time, there's been some changes and some improvements made here just in that time. Oh, yeah. So I think it'd be kind of cool to maybe talk through with our listeners. I think they'd be interested to know what all you kind of trial and error, what we figured out works here and maybe what doesn't, and how you guys have gotten it to where it is.
Well, and I appreciate that, and thank you very much for allowing us to talk about that today. This has been a big work in progress. I took on this account 6 years ago, and when we got to this farm, it was head tall, hadn't been touched in 2 years. And when I met with Doc, I asked him what his goals were, and that was one of the things I learned from you guys first was. When we sit down and we meet with these landowners, we need to sometimes help them identify what their goals are, both short-term and long-term, because they don't always know. They always tell you, yeah, we want a lot of deer and we want a lot of turkeys, but they don't know the steps that it takes to get there.
Right.
And so in this situation with this particular farm, Doc came to me and he was just like, I want to have a nice place for my family and friends to enjoy. I want it to look pretty and be taken care of. But knowing Dr. Kane and how much of a wildlife enthusiast, especially a turkey enthusiast he was, for me, I've always had that mindset in my mind or thoughts in my mind about what we can do for habitat. I know you guys always discuss the value of habitat, and it took me a little while to basically buy into that, or it took me a little while to see the true results from habitat development and what it can really bring.
Habitat first.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. And those of you in the audience that will literally give that a lot of consideration and focus on that, I think we'll find a lot bigger results.
Right.
So that being said, I like a lot of folks, again, I'm not a biologist. I don't have a PhD, but I've got a lot of seat time. I've got a lot of time in the woods, and I was smart enough at an early age to figure out, don't pretend to know what you don't know. And what you don't know, go find out. Yeah. And it goes back to anything and everything I try to do, or I'm a part of, is I try to surround myself with the right people that know more than I do, that have more experience than I do. And I said it this morning on a radio show, landowners, if they would be willing to find someone like yourselves that have the knowledge, that have the experience, that can help them identify their goals early on, it will help them prevent from spending a lot of extra time and money we don't need to spend. And a prime example of that is take the guy out there that just wants to take care of his place, but he doesn't really know what he wants to do. And you get 5 years into a situation and he thinks back, golly, if I'd have done this 5 years ago, where would my program be now? Right. And so as we started working on the place and we started developing things, it was after about the first year, we approached Doc and said, hey, would you be interested in doing a dove hunt? And he said, yeah, we would. We tried it a couple of years ago and it didn't really work. So I thought, well, it doesn't hurt to try again. So I ran down to the local seed store and grabbed some generic dove blend, and it had some millet and some sorghum, some sunflowers, and a little bit of this and that and the other. And we threw it out here, and it grew okay. What the deer didn't eat, which they really took a hard effect on it. And in that first year, we had a pretty decent little turnout. It wasn't that, but of course, we knew we wanted to take it to the next level. And so, as I have in the past, I picked up the phone and called Jeremy and got you guys involved. And that's when you guys really started helping me facilitate what needed to be done in the fields with planting the different crops and how to maintain them and how to basically take care of them to produce what we have today. So it wasn't what I did there, but as far as the footprint of what needed to be maintained, is when I realized we had to implement, and this may not be the right terminology, but I called it a habitat rotation program. And I would take different areas and I would maintain them on a reoccurring basis, which would allow it to regenerate with the native warm season grasses and such, right? And natural vegetation would produce great cover for nesting and for fawns development. Okay. And we were able to maintain those with just my tractor and a bush hog where it didn't get too far out of control, and I could still take care of them. And I saw a lot of effects with that. And when we started doing those things with our regular maintenance and then with our crop rotations, numbers just started coincide. And of course, now I'm leaving out a key factor with the trapping. We do still do a lot of trapping of that. And I think it's the whole equation.
That's right.
And, especially in school, I didn't pay attention all the time, but I did pay attention enough that in mathematics, if you wanted to keep equation balanced, what you did to one side, you had to do to the other. Right. So as hunters, as outdoor enthusiasts, if we're taking from a resource all the time, whether it's turkeys or deer, you need to do something to get back. And we know the most effective tool is habitat, right?
That's right.
But even with the best habitat in the world, if you still have nothing out there that's helping filter those or regulate those predators, then you're still going to have a big uphill challenge. You need to try to keep those at bay. And now that feeding and baiting has become so prevalent and it's congregating all of these, these predators in one place, we really have a lot of homework to do in trying to keep that balanced. And most deer hunters that I know that have feed piles out, they've got to have, 10, 12 coons on each pile. And those have to be, managed as well. So if you have the best habitat in the world, but you got all the nesting predators in the world, you really need some help there. You need to balance that.
And imagine how bad it is when you got a lot of predators in poor habitat.
Absolutely.
Which is what a lot of people are faced with.
It absolutely
and
is.
I want to add something too, because I know somebody's going to jump in and say, well, you don't need to be bush hogging, as far as habitat goes. We're in an area here that burning is just not going to happen.
Not on the table.
It's not on the table. So the possibility of that, you just forget it. It's got to be done with a bush hog or a disc.
Absolutely.
So, want folks to understand that.
And going back to what you were saying, doing the rotational crops for dove hunting, the soil is getting disturbed between, the periods where you have native warm season grasses
That's right.
and an agricultural crop.
Yes,
so
sir.
you are getting that soil disturbance and those, beneficial plants that you're looking for.
And one thing I noticed you doing, coming out and kind of paying attention, walking you through some things is just the areas that you like to maintain from an aesthetic standpoint. You worked on those too to change the grass component that was a lot of fescue, a lot of bahia grass in here. And you've come in, you've worked on that with herbicides and really changed a lot of it to, some beneficial grasses, but a lot of clover. Yeah.
Yes, we have developed a lot of clover. And I think that's a big factor because with our crop rotation that we do every year, all of our parameter areas, most of our surrounding parameter areas are all clover, which provides a real good food source for the wildlife to continue to lean on and utilize even while other crops are getting established. And, you don't realize until you plant something like sunflowers out here, how many mouths you have competing for your crop
Hence having to put electric fence around your sunflowers.
Absolutely. And, and that's where you guys have really helped us step up our game in helping us reach our goals and maximizing our goals by bringing new technologies and new experiences to the table that allows intermediate managers like myself to be able to implement those styles and techniques that helps make our products more productive. So we thank y'all for that.
Well, just I'm very much in the same boat. Like I'm on the outside looking in at a lot of stuff that they do from a technical aspect, and on the practical side of things, one thing that I thought was really cool just about the relationship that you guys have here is that Mark has always been very open and very to go, hey, like I got some of this stuff. I've got my head wrapped around some of it I don't. And and like you said, hey, I pick the phone up and call them, and I don't know, just on the outside looking in, it's really cool to see like there's no ego, like there's no, you know what I mean, and all it's done is made this place better, and it's just really cool because there's a lot of people will allow their pride to get in the way of what could be
many
incredible.
People in this industry are that way.
Too prideful.
I mean, you can learn from anybody if you'll keep an open mind.
Yes.
Sure. And I'm not above going and asking questions or going to seminars that I pay for to go to competitors, competitors.
Yes, that's right.
But you can learn from anybody.
You should always be willing to learn. I mean, it's like going on a prescribed burn. Every time you go on a burn, if you don't learn something, you're not paying attention.
That's true.
Every time you go to another property that you haven't been on before that somebody else is managing, you can learn from whoever's managing that property. If you're not paying attention.
That's right.
I couldn't agree anymore. And as an experienced turkey hunter, I would say there's plenty of folks out there that are much, much better turkey hunters than we will ever be. But anytime I have the opportunity to take someone turkey hunting, I try to observe more than I do anything else. You can take that one guy that you may not know anything about and just listen to how he views something or thinks about something or experience that he may have.
How is that experience to him? He may look at it completely different than you have your entire life.
Absolutely. And you take small tidbits, from different individuals like that. And the day you stop learning something is the day you need to go find something else to do.
That's right.
So for habitat management, land management and such, it's, it's not a big secret. I just try to do what I know has worked for me in the past. And when I run into a situation I'm not sure about, that's when I pick up the phone and call folks like y'all. We don't get credibility means everything in the world to me. And when you put your name on something, that's a sign of your character. That's for sure. And when I have the opportunity to work with clients like we have been blessed to work with and such like Dr. Kane, you want to make sure in my attitude, I want to make sure I can deliver the very best product that I can, no matter, or service that I can. And so when we set our goals to a certain objective, I'm going to find out if we're doing what we need to do. Because once that task is completed, you're going to look back and it's got your name on it now. You don't want to be sitting there in a situation saying, I wish I could have, should have, would have.
Sure.
And we're dealing with a situation like that on a larger project that we're working on, and we're not going to be having that. We're going to have others looking at that project going, wow.
Be a lot
the wow
of eyes.
factor.
That's right.
And it takes a lot of experience, knowledge, dedication, commitment, sacrifice to make that happen. And for me, whether it's great friends that I've been blessed with that are been willing to help me along the way, but you only know what you know.
That's right.
And so therefore, if you're smart enough to surround yourself with people that know more than you, more than likely, it'll help you come out looking better in the long run too.
You've already won the battle if you start out that way.
That's right.
Keep an open attitude, guys, and you can accomplish more with the right people. And if you're not greedy, and not too prideful, then you'll come out looking better yourself in a lot of cases.
For sure.
And I think this property right here is point in case. We had respectfully, Outfitters Depot had gotten it pretty far, but we needed to do more. And when I had opportunity to have professional eyes and ears on the property saying, what about this? What about this? How about this? You thought about this? It just gets that wheel spinning. And then when you start considering those options, you recognize there's a lot more opportunity there. And now to come out here 6 years later to kill a limit of turkeys, to kill 140-inch deer, and people say, you can do that on 50 acres? going back to surrounding yourself with good people. Get the professionals involved. Make the investment in the time and experience to get that information and knowledge on your property so they can help you identify what your goals are and what it's most importantly, what it's going to take to get there.
Right.
And for me, when the land manager or landowner comes and says, this is what my goals are, I'm not going to tell him it can't be done. I'm just going to tell him what it's going to take to get there and let him make that decision.
And he needs to know, because some of them have limited resources.
That's right.
They do.
And when you look at a small landowner and you say, well, yes, we can accomplish what you want to accomplish, but this is what it's going to take, that knocks some of them out.
It does. But here's the thing. I'm being realistic with you. I'm being honest with you.
That's right.
And if you're not willing to set forth these practices or implement these practices in the management plan that we put into place, you might as well just be blowing in the wind.
Well,
You're spinning your wheels for nothing.
I've let clients go, really, really good clients, because they just don't want to cut timber. And unfortunately, in our part of the world, Northeast Alabama, that's one of the primary things that you can do to improve your place. Most places need timber cut. And when they won't, and that's the biggest thing we can do to impact habitat. I've had a couple that I just have to shake hands, say, look, enjoyed the work, but there's really not anything further that I can do for you that you can't get done at 20% of what you're paying me.
Right.
So go hire a guy that can come out here, either full time or 2 or 3 days a week and handle that, and don't have to pay me my consulting rate to be out there on the ground.
Well, and that's something else people need to understand is once you implement these programs, there's always follow-up.
Yes.
And so you've got to be committed, just as much so committed on the backside as you are on the front side. 'Cause it does the landowner no good to send in a team of professionals to have a management plan implemented and not being executed or followed through. Why do it?
You got to have somebody helping guide you from start to finish.
Absolutely. And again, that goes back to helping these landowners identify their both their short-term and long-term goals and helping them understand what it's going to take to facilitate it.
Yeah.
That plan.
And I would even go maybe even a half step or full step further is vet these folks and make sure they've done the type of work that you're looking for.
Right.
All too often we'll go out and work for somebody and start questioning how things got to where they are, because it looks as though there have been some mistakes made, and either they took on a project that they didn't understand themselves just because they, read something or watched a YouTube video on it or whatever, or even had somebody inexperienced come in and do the work.
I probably see more of that nowadays than the other. There's a lot of folks like myself that call themselves game managers that probably shouldn't be wearing that title, but neither here or there.
That's right. Look, you don't have to have a degree to come out here and do this.
To operate a tractor, you don't. But don't pretend to be something you're not.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's the biggest factor here, and that's what I want to encourage everybody. I've been doing this a long time, and you know that, Jeremy. But I still every day pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
Because I want to make darn sure what I'm doing is, I'm to the best I can be.
Sure.
And if it's only a phone call, guys, I'm lucky to have friends like you guys. Yeah. And I appreciate everything y'all have done to help us develop into who we are. So these game managers, you need to keep an open mind. You need to get out here and attend these field days. You need to attend these short courses. And if you have the opportunity to get out here and spend some time walking through the woods with these guys, you need to do it. And every day that I get to spend time with y'all, I learn something. It might be a new variety of species of something, or a new insect, or a new something, but I'm always able to learn. And for the most part, you're not going to get that just from spending time by yourself with the same people.
Right.
No, and something that I thought was really cool here, if I remember correctly, 2 years ago, like we were just talking about, having all the answers and trying to do everything, yourself. I mean, even here, I know that there were some different things that were planted here in efforts to draw in doves, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. But it was like, hey, we need to try it. We need to try different things and see what's working here. And if I'm not mistaken, like back here was where we had pearl millet, right?
Yeah, and
down here. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, and so
by the way, incredible fawning cover.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
I think if I remember right, I think it was like one of the very first pieces of content that we ever put out for Southern U, and it came from that dove shoot because we walked around and talked about what all was done here, and Jeremy said, "Tremendous amount of seed from these from the pearl mill." It's like a lot of biomass left over,
Lots.
Don't know that this is something we're going to do again, but you don't know unless you try it. Don't know unless you just give it a shot. And so I say that to encourage people out there. It's okay to get some advice, professional advice, and then go try some stuff, and if it works, great. And if not, then where you can back up and punt. And
look, science is trial and error. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's trial and error. Yeah. So you can do science at your own place, at your home. One of the keys, though, is our last episode. If you're going to, you got to keep records so that you know what you've done, know what failed, know what worked.
That's right.
But yeah, you can look. Some of these game managers, and I'd put Mark in this category. There's some of these guys out there that can manage a property or manage ground just as good as we can, and just as good as any PhD guy out there or master's guy out there. There's just certain clientele that they want that piece of paper.
That's right.
And look, that's just part of the world. But it's not necessary to be a good manager.
I think being a good manager is keeping an open mind and recognizing what you don't know.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah. And for me,
well, that and gaining trust too. I mean, I think when you can gain the trust of your client to go, look, I trust that you're going to do what's best for me, even if that means you got to bring in somebody else to help with it. I think at the end of the day, it just, can you help me reach my goals or not? Because if you can, then I'm here for it. It's fine. But if you can't, then we got to have a conversation. So
point in case is a project we're working on down the road from here. It was larger than any project that I personally been able to facilitate. From what I understood, the goals for being and where we were at, I knew I had to get help. In order, ultimately, here goes back. My name's on this project.
That's
now
right.
all of our names are on this project. But most importantly, the client will be taken care of. And I know collectively, more so y'all can help bring to the table more than I could ever do alone.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
now, did it cost me money? Sure. Yeah. I could have probably done more on my, but I would not have been able to facilitate it, produce it, and it wouldn't have never been the results that what it will be now because of y'all.
Yeah.
Well, right? And I say that so everyone else will understand is don't be greedy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Surround yourself with good people. And that's what's going to produce the good results that you're looking for.
Well, in that particular project that you're referring to, I mean, heck, there's been 4 biologists on it and yourself. And so from a game management standpoint, that probably gathers up close to 1 million acres under the belt of those 4 and
100 years
80 to 100 years of experience.
I agree.
That's going into that one track. And that's what I think is unique about the way we work versus just,
absolutely
one company that's got 1 or 2 guys. We all own our independent businesses, but we work a lot together. Even with some other guy, hey, here come the doves.
We're shooting birds. If you hear us out here.
Yeah, if you hear shots.
But we've all got different strengths and weaknesses, and that's the key to having a team of folks is, what Jeremy's really good in, I may not be, but I may be good in another area to pick him up. Bray may be really good at something else. So it's good to have the different areas of knowledge and expertise, because when you bring it all together, like you were saying, you're better able to provide a higher quality product to the client.
Sure. Absolutely. You look at a football team. You can put Joe Montana out there, and if he doesn't have Jerry Rice to catch ball, it's not going to happen.
That's right.
So you take, and if he doesn't have a good line to block for him, Jerry's not going anywhere either. It's a complete package, and that's what I want to encourage everybody is to don't be afraid to make those phone calls, and don't be afraid to reach out to the people that have been here doing this a lot longer, that have gone to school for this, and can really help offer experience and knowledge that's going to, produce a better product.
Yeah. And one thing I want to really highlight is we've gone kind of down the management side, but this all applies to small acreage, because we've all worked on this place, and this is 52 acres. So, I mean, a lot of management, a lot of projects can be done on small acreage. You need to have a robust plan if you're going to tackle a small acreage property.
Yes.
Because, a mistake impacts a lot.
I was going to say on a small acreage, if you're uncertain about something, please get help, because once you make a mistake, if you do a timber harvest on 28 acres and you've only got 50, it may take decades to recover from that if it's done improperly.
You take this area right across from us right here. I referred to it as the nursery. This nursery now, and 2 years ago we cleaned all of that out. There was some old barns or old not home places, but buildings, structures and stuff, and we cleaned all of that out, and it was beautiful understory, wide open. And a fella came by here last week that helped us do some of that, and he looked and he said, "Man, it's a shame y'all let all that grow back up."
Yep.
Do I have to tell y'all what's loaded up in that thing right there? I mean, y'all saw the babies running in there this morning.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and every morning I would watch fawns and does transition in and out of what I call the nursery now, in and out of these ag fields, utilizing the crops when the fences were.
Well, I mean, right now I can see 2 or 3 species of high quality forage.
Oh, yeah, from here.
Absolutely.
As we get out there and walk around, we'll be able to identify more.
And that's something else when it comes to food plots, and everybody wants to, they're all trying to do more, and they all get hyped up about summer food plots. And you go and ask these folks about their food plots, and most of them are lucky to be a half acre.
Yeah.
Well,
and trying to plant soybeans on top of that.
Look, I'm here.
And they're sitting here and what's relevant about that? You're not going to get that crop established. It's not going to produce enough for you. You would be much better off leaving it alone, letting those native warm season grasses come through, guys.
Yes.
Am I preaching to the choir?
No, you're exactly right. Look, when it comes to small acreage food plots in the summer, you would be much better off doing a midwinter light disking and letting it go through the spring and summer than to come in there and you've got all those inputs. You've got fertilizer costs, you've got seed costs, you've got diesel, you've got your butt sitting in the tractor seat to produce nothing really. I mean, if you're planting peas or beans or sunflowers, they're going to get 3 inches high
and get nipped off.
And they're gone. The whole crop's gone for the rest of the season.
So think how many feelings we would hurt if we were actually to graph out the benefits versus the cost on those programs. We'd be hurting folks' feelings.
No, we'd be hurting businesses' feelings too.
Yes, absolutely.
You get
Big
it?
ones.
So y'all pay attention to what we're saying. You can accomplish a lot more by doing less.
Yes.
Way more.
Yes.
Okay, so this goes back to surround yourself with good people that know, and it's through experience. And we've done this long enough to understand, guys, you're just kind of blowing in the wind if you're trying to implement a summer, spring food plot program when you don't have much surface area to work with.
That's right. Yep. I've seen so many properties that, they may lease 1,000 acres.
Yep.
And on the whole 1,000 acres, they may have 6 to 8 acres of food plots scattered out, where they got a quarter acre here, a half acre there. The largest food plot on the place might be an acre.
Yep.
And then they go through the expense of planting those 6 to 8 acres in summer crops every year, and it's an absolute failure every single time. And they think they're doing some benefit to the deer herd.
Nutritionally, zero net gain.
Zero. It's kind of like pouring a gallon of fresh water in the ocean.
Yeah. So with that same amount of money,
literally,
they could talk to the landowner and get permission to burn 150 acres. And that burning that 150 acres is going to do a whole lot more benefit annually than planting those food plots.
I'll say the average person, though, the average whitetail hunter in the Southeast, just like your guy that said, man, it's a shame you guys let that grow up. People don't look at that and think food.
No, they don't.
They look at that.
They don't
and
look at
think,
cover either.
No, they look at that and think, gosh, that looks
wildlife
junky.
does want to hide, doesn't it?
Right. And
People have become accustomed to looking out
at a green
at their
food
window.
plot.
Yeah. Well, at home, at a green yard, or looking at maintained flower beds around their place. They go out and they sit on a green field and look at a big green open space. They've become, aesthetically attracted to that look, and that is right the opposite of what wildlife needs.
That's exactly right.
I mean,
that's right.
Total opposite.
Yep.
Goes back to doing more with less.
And you'll see that. You'll see that on the small scale guys too, because they may be looking at it, they don't have as much room to roam. And they're like, well, gosh, I just really don't want to look at this place, grown up. But this is a perfect example. There's plenty of this that's maintained that you can come out and, play in the yard with the kids, do whatever you want to do. But as soon as you walk out of this immediate area, we've got planted fields, you've got good fawning cover, you've got nesting cover back there. I know there's a chufa field back there behind the fence.
And you know what's important about having the cover here? If you look at the neighboring properties, it's maintained pastures.
Yes, it is.
Equestrian farms.
All aesthetics.
It's neighborhoods. So they're not providing for the needs of deer.
Correct.
You're doing it right here.
Yep.
It's a good point. And you look at this farm here, and we're surrounded by 3,000 acres of Birmingham Waterworks property. So this is, about the only supplemental food sources that we have throughout the fall and winter. So you can naturally, this is like what I would refer to the food court at major shopping mall.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We're recruiting so many deer because of food sources here and habitat. Let's be honest. If you're an adult doe and you want to give your fawn the best survival opportunities, you're going to go where they have the best cover, where they have the best places to hide, and they've got the best food sources available. Let's admit, the less that fawn has to travel, the more secure he's going to be.
Same thing with turkeys.
Fair enough.
The shorter, acreage or linear distance that they have to travel to get from nesting to brooding.
You
cover.
saying from here to here?
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
Yes. So going from here to here is a lot safer than going from here to the other end of the table.
Yes, it
if
is.
you're a 3 to 5 inch turkey pole.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed. And so that's why we try to, like Jeremy said, we maintain what we need to maintain. And once we start maintaining it in the spring, I think this is a key factor. Once we start maintaining it, we continue to maintain it.
Right.
Fair enough. So it's not like a one and done type of a situation. We're not coming in here and mowing potential nesting ground.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
So we recognize the areas that need to be maintained, and that's why we call it the
keep them
habitation.
maintained.
Yes. Keep those maintained. And guys that have these large food plots that are very thick with cereal grains every single year, a turkey is, if you can't see through it, he's not going to, he can't see through it either.
That's it.
Okay. And if he can't see through it, he's not going to feel comfortable in it. So that's where we get, when we have these thick cereal grain plots and we go in here and even some of this crop rotation that we do, and we'll go ahead and mow those 20-foot strips. Even a predator's going to have a hard time getting through those real thick cereal grains undetected.
Right.
Number one, he probably doesn't want to try to get through there. So he's going to use those edges. But those turkeys learn that. And if they get out in the middle of a 3-acre field that's got 20-foot strips, he's got a lot. He's still secure. He can still elude that predator pretty easily.
He can see the predator.
He can see the predator.
That's the key.
But if you don't mow those strips, that food plot's, for lack of better words, useless to that turkey.
Well,
Right?
Anybody that's turkey hunted very long sees that transitional period there from spring when everything's really starting to grow up till that seed, gets, or that those grasses seed out and get tall. Turkeys they don't use it anymore.
Nope.
When it's, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches tall, they'll get in it. But once it's 12
Taller
inches,
than they are?
once it's 12 inches, you'll start seeing the utilization go down. And once it gets any taller, it just nearly totally stops.
Yes.
Unless they're out there trying to grab seed heads off the edge. You don't see them out in the middle.
So I would tell anybody that's
More
going to
shots.
implement those type of programs, they need to implement those starting, early season, early spring, and they need to continue that. And we were doing a show last week, and the reasoning was, lack of time.
Yeah.
That's all of our biggest enemies.
It is.
It's lack of time.
Everything
But
you do.
I say it the right way, and I might get in trouble with this, but for me, it's priorities.
Yeah.
It's priorities.
You'll prioritize what's important to you.
Yeah, I will.
That's just
and if my goal is more turkeys and better quality habitat or wildlife, and that's what I really am going to do, some of these extracurricular things are going to have to take the back seat.
Right.
And it cracks me up every single year that I hear this a lot about trapping. Now, we can always find time to slip in a hunt, but we never can seem to find time to slip in extra day to go work.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's same theory as in life. You get out what you put in.
That's it.
So, if you can't facilitate the work, find somebody that can. What you're getting out is what you put in. And if you're not able to do it, find someone that can do it, and it will help you accomplish your goals as well.
Sure. I mean, look, y'all get tired of my ministry examples on here, but that was one thing I told teenagers all the time is like, you talking about, hey, I'll set aside my things that are priority for me.
Sure.
Well, the truth is anybody will. You can say that things are a priority, but what you actually believe is what is actually a priority.
Absolutely.
So I used to tell them all the time, like, what you believe affects how you behave. And so if you believe that something is a priority, then it will be.
you're going to act on it.
If you don't, if you say it, but you don't believe it, then it won't be.
That's
It's no different than this kind of stuff here.
I couldn't agree anymore. And that typical hunter, turkey hunter that only gets 12 days a year or access to 12 days. But I'm talking about the weekend guy.
Yeah, sure.
Which makes up the most of us.
Absolutely.
You take Johnny Spring Ball, you take Easter, which should be a factor, spring break for the kids, and bad weather. You're lucky to get 4 or 5 good days.
Oh, yeah.
That's
in
right.
there. But we'll all go through neck-breaking circumstances to go try to get that one bird. Well,
Yeah. That's right.
imagine if the same commitment was there about
For
facilitating
the management of itself.
So, yeah, and all you turkey hunters out there, we talked about this morning. There's a show out there called The Life of a Turkey by Joe Hutto. If you haven't seen that documentary, you really owe it to yourself as a turkey hunter, because I think it will help you gain a much larger appreciation of what it took to develop that 2-year-old bird
That's right.
that you're trying to kill every year.
It's a miracle.
Right?
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. It's short of a miracle for that turkey to live long enough to get on the limb for you to hunt him off
That's
of
right.
it. And with that being said, if you'll develop a little stronger appreciation, it might make it easier to make that sacrifice to get down there. And even if it's for one weekend, hey, talking about these deer hunters and these bait piles and such, give me one extra weekend after deer season's over.
You're right.
That's
Give
right.
me one extra weekend. There's none of you out there that have camps that you commute to that don't end up going down there the weekend after to take down stands and do
right.
this post-season work. It's great, but while you're there, don't forget your DPs.
That's right.
All of your pals have already been there. All of the predators are still congregated.
Just set up.
They're already ready there for you
Set 'em
to
up.
scope. So just grab the kids, grab a friend, go have a good time with it, and show these kids, develop a new enjoyment.
Yep.
It may not become a passion, but it's part of the program, guys.
That's right.
And when I was growing up, trapping was fading out. The fur trade had all but diminished and gone away. Respectfully, it was deeply instilled in me, we don't waste anything. I'm not interested in coon pie.
No.
Or possum pie, and I don't want coyote dumplings. But we still have to understand the value in what trapping that
right.
animal does and managing his populations, or how detrimental it can be if it gets out of balance.
That's right.
Naturally, I mean, a coyote will prey on a coon, but it's compromise situation.
Ounce for ounce. The raccoons are pretty tough little
They
critters.
are. So they're not. And where I'm going with that is coons don't have many natural predators. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's why they're still in the trap when you get there.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. You know, and bobcats the same way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what's going to prey on a bobcat?
Not
Even
much.
stuck in a trap. You know, they're going to tear you up pretty good. So. You take those, and one thing I don't know that we ought to get started on now is the avian predators.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
You
too
know,
many.
That's a topic for y'all,
Oh yeah.
the professionals, but I don't think there's
we
going to be
get yelled at.
many that disagree that it might be time to start looking at some of managing them. We know that we don't have a thriving population of quail because of that main factor.
There's one species that has led to most of that.
Yep.
Just one.
Which one is it?
Coopers.
The smaller ones.
Coopers hawks.
One of the small. Yep.
Now,
Them and Sharpies.
Yep.
Little
Sharp
shins.
shin and Coopers account for a very
Wear
high
out the
percentage
birds.
of small birds.
I believe that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bird specialists. That's what they do.
Well,
I believe that.
in the light of talking to priorities, I want to prioritize another little bit. I think me and Matt are going to shag out.
Yeah.
And we're gonna pull Bray and Misty
on, ladies.
in, and you and Taylor stay. I guess what we're gonna talk about now is what role Misty has played in and what all's going on out here that the female viewers might take more fun
Absolutely.
in, and let Bray throw her 2 cents in too, since we kicked
I
her
think
out a
that's
while
That's all
ago.
it is, about 2 cents worth.
Oh, shots fired again.
Oh, come get him,
Come on
Bray! Come
in.
get him.
I'll swap out headsets real quick. Intermission.
I want to see why she's got a finger.
That's so if you misbehave, she's going to
I
smack
see
you.
that. I noticed it earlier.
Yeah, notice we have a new guest. We have.
I thought it was
Bray.
a back scratcher.
You know, if that would have been my back scratcher, it would have been the other finger.
I know.
That's what I said.
You and I going to get along just fine.
That's funny.
Oh.
But yeah, so again,
Yes,
it's just continuing conversation. Obviously, this is Misty's, Mark's wife,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I want you just to go ahead and kind of let us know. I mean, there's a whole lot going on here. We've talked strictly about wildlife and management, but there's more things going on here than what we've talked about,
Absolutely.
and kind of rope Misty into that conversation too.
I absolutely will. Yes. So this goes back to facilitating the landowners, goals and desires, and a lot of folks don't realize a lot of these prominent personalities, they grew up just like you and I. Mm-hmm. They grew up small town. They grew up getting their hands dirty, rolling up their sleeves, and they love to come out here and smell the powder burn, just like us. But
Sure.
their careers and professional paths have taken them in a direction that doesn't give them or provide them with very much time to facilitate these type of things. So, Misty, came. She and I got together a couple of years ago, and we were talking to Doc just about a simple garden and having some nice fresh produce available and trying it right here. And he was all for it. Yeah, no problem. And we did. About 3 years ago, we put in a real nice garden. And about the time everything was coming up and we were getting ready to harvest, we came back the next day and there wasn't a thing left.
Wipe out.
Oh, no.
And I mean, literally overnight, our entire garden was completely wiped out. And we were devastated. Misty was heartbroken. She spends so much time out here, literally blood, sweat, and tears pouring off of this poor woman, trying to produce the best garden she could.
Sure, yeah.
And anyway, so we figured out real fast that we were going to have to put up some kind of barricade, some barrier to keep the deer out and such. And it evolved from there. And now we got a 1 acre high fence garden out there. You would think it was a miniature deer pen. But
It's gonna look like
anyway.
botanical gardens.
It's just to
when I
keep
get
them out.
done with it.
Yeah. So that's where the garden started. And Misty's done a wonderful job continuing to develop that as well. And then from there, she
We've done bees. We've started off with 11 hives. Eventually, some of them. Oh, hang on. Here we go.
pull the mic clip.
There we go.
There we go. We can hear
So
it
we
now.
started off with 11 hives. We didn't know much about anything about bees, but we started off with 11, and then they left us, and now we're back with 6. So we're doing pretty good. We
Yeah.
got the garden, we got the bees, we've got a lot of honey that comes out of those hives.
That's awesome.
And
You
now
got George?
Yeah, we got George. We got chickens.
Yeah.
Never had chickens before, so that's different. And
Our veterinarian came to us this past spring during turkey season, and he has chickens and he has a couple turkeys, and he brought us a batch of chicken eggs. And Misty, I thought she was kidding. She's like, "Hey, can I hatch any of these out?" And Dr. Britt was like, "You probably can if you try. You know, they're probably fertilized."
Yeah.
Lo and behold, she calls my neighbor up, who literally has just a little bit about everything you can eat. Sort of a hoarder.
Need
And
an
of course,
incubator.
he's got an incubator.
oh yeah,
And next thing I notice, I got an incubator on my kitchen counter full of eggs. And lo and behold, Dr. Britt also gave her 3 turkey eggs that were all fertilized. And so she put all of them in the incubator, and 20 days later, she had a chicken, and 7 days after that, she had George.
I
that
had
came
George.
popping out. George pops out of the egg, jumps up at Misty, and is like, "Mom,
way different than the chickens.
way different than the chickens." So anyway, yeah, Misty has done a great job of implementing those attributes to
Sure.
this program here, which is helped create more of a homesteading opportunity. And a lot of people don't realize with this little 50 acres here, the average man like myself could literally make a living off of this property.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between facilitating corporate events like we are, just the homesteading with the gardening, and she's got, with an acre out there, and that doesn't include half of that being an orchard, a fruit orchard.
Oh, nice.
With
Okay.
8 different apple trees, 4 peaches, 4 pears, and 4 plums. She's got blueberries out there, pomegranate, figs.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
grapes.
All of that, the grapes as well. And then she implemented the chickens this year. So between that and doing guided hunts here basically on 50 acres, it's amazing the quality of wildlife that's
Well,
here.
I'll say this too for the gardening stuff. I'm not a huge gardener, but my parents have always had one, and you would be surprised at how much yield, how much food
Yes.
you can provide for people
Oh, yeah.
with 1 acre of land if you do
Oh, my
things
goodness.
right. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I know like right now the big craze is like the little raised beds, little micro,
Yep.
you know what I mean, making
Yep.
them out of pallets and all that type of stuff. It's amazing the amount of food you can produce if
Literally.
you do things right.
At
Oh, yeah.
our house in Tuscaloosa, we just had, I think it was like a 16 by 16 raised
Yeah.
garden bed, but I packed that thing. There was
Yeah.
squash, zucchini, cucumbers. I'm really good at growing cucumbers, and that's about it. Don't let this hurt my business while I help y'all with your food plots and stuff. But I 100% have a black thumb when
Yeah.
it comes to house plants and gardening. My tomatoes, I think they died once they found out that I was going to be their caretaker.
Right.
That's so funny.
Our tomatoes, once we planted our tomatoes, the heat got them, the water got them, so we didn't have tomatoes either.
Yeah,
It was a bad year for
Everybody's like,
plants.
"Oh,
Yeah.
you should water your plants," and then my tomatoes were like, "I'm too watered. I'm
Yeah.
too watered. I'm gonna die."
Too much.
So,
My wife will bring home a plant like somebody gives her at work or something. I'm like, why did you do that? Like, do you just want it to come here and die instead of staying in your office and die or whatever?
we're like,
you know, 'cause-
our house is like palliative care for
Yes.
plants.
yeah, we was here to ease the transition. To, like,
That's funny.
Yes.
I can grow anything. We've just redone our house, and our lights that are up underneath our kitchen, underneath the cabinets.
Yeah.
I can put anything underneath there, and by the next day, it is like growing.
Oh my gosh.
So I can take the
Can't
head of
relate.
cabbage or anything that we got at home. I'll cut it and be like, I'm going to sit it in some water and sit it up underneath and then the next day it's like, hey, we got a head of cabbage
that's
growing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh
Literally.
my god.
Yeah.
So she literally developes everything from a seed. She doesn't buy any plants from the store.
That's
She develops
cool.
everything from a seed, and she starts that pretty early. February, March. She'll get those going.
I've
And
even
it
planted-
aggravates me because I get tired of the plants on the counter, and the bugs and the
But you don't say anything about it, do you?
No.
yes, dear. Yes, dear. After 13 years, you learn to say yes, dear.
Yeah, Jeremy off camera. Jeremy goes priorities.
Yeah.
Pick your battles.
That's
That's
right.
right.
There are hills I'm willing to die on. That ain't one of them.
I've even planted a pineapple. I got it growing on the front porch. He's like,
No,
this
and
is
it'll never
not
make.
going to grow a pineapple. I'm like, no, but it's a plant.
I bet
Yes.
you could.
Yeah.
I bet you could.
We're going to find out.
All right, we're gonna
It's
take
kind of
a-
like bananas.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Gentleman's wager here.
Yeah.
Who thinks this pineapple is actually going to produce another pineapple?
I think it's going to produce.
I
Keep it
think-
warm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, only time will tell.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Cool.
that's
and
really cool.
I mean, you can't see the garden from here, but it's so cool. It's so
Thank
neat.
you.
Like if I was out here, I'd just have me a little setup to hang out with the chickens and George.
Yeah, no, look,
Do
we
it every
gotta
afternoon.
talk about George though, because I
Okay.
need to know.
George.
I need to know how George got his name, and I've already heard a lot about him, and I feel like whenever we're done here, if I have to, I'll rip one of these cameras off the tripod and go get
We
some
tried
footage
to
of
bring
George.
him up here to sit
Yeah,
with
He just
us.
wasn't having it?
He's grumpy today.
Oh well, grumpy George.
He got mad at me this morning because I drove past and he was like, "Mom, you're not letting me out." And I just drove past. I was like, "Look, I gotta go take care of something. I'll be back." And he's got a little
Yeah,
too.
for the audience that have ever met George or seen George, he tends to gravitate towards Misty's lap.
Yeah.
And Misty has this beautiful song about the sunshine, and she starts singing about the sunshine, and next thing you know, George is asleep in her lap.
He's the sweetest.
Now, Misty, when she and I got together, all she knew was that if she wanted to spend time with me, she was going to have to, number one, start wearing camo.
I was a city girl.
And number
I
two,
was so city. I thought camo was the ugliest thing. I was like, why does people
Yeah.
wear that?
yeah.
Never been in the woods, never hunted, don't have anybody in the family that hunts.
Look at you now.
Yeah, no, look at me
Here
now.
we go.
Yeah.
And, she's darn near killed a grand slam with us, and
Golly,
I love it.
she's taken countless number of birds. I'm very blessed to say that I've been a part of most of those. And,
That's really cool.
And we've established a wonderful relationship through the outdoors. But this property and this garden and all would not be what it is without Misty.
Well,
I
thank
promise you
you.
that,
Sure.
because I had no desire to do the garden. I had no desire to do the chickens or anything like that. But I say all that because you don't realize how rewarding a garden can be. How satisfying it can be. And I'll tell you, when you take a 5-gallon bucket and you go out there and you fill it up 2 or 3 times because you've got all the veggies to go with it. I've still got okra out there that's taller than I can pick now. Of course,
Oh,
that
yeah.
doesn't take much, but being 5'5", now, my goodness, but my okra gets really tall out there, and I have to, lean it over and
Yeah.
cut it. But I've really enjoyed it. It's been big learning experience,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of commitment and sacrifice to make it work, and a lot of work that goes into it. A lot of people don't realize how much work a garden is. And I figured out early on, I didn't want to deal with those weeds. So Misty and I went and got 12-foot long the weed control mat and put it down, which, yes, it costs a little bit more up front, and yes, it takes a little bit of work. And Misty, guys, I tell you what, this social media stuff and this YouTube stuff, I think it just creates more work for me most days. But she came up, she watched this video, and I'm going to tell you, it worked very well. She went and she handed me 2 soup cans, and one of the ends was cut out of it, of course, and the other end was still intact. And she said, attach that to a stick for me. I said, okay. And she goes, here's 2 of them. I said, okay. So I went downstairs and I attached them to a stick. What are we going to do with this? She said, just when we get to the farm, will you build me a fire? Now you're going to burn the stick? What did I do all this for? She said, just build the fire, would you? I said, okay. So I built the fire. She takes one of the daggum sticks with the end of the can on it and she throws it in the fire. Of course, the stick wasn't in the fire, but the metal can was.
Right.
But what are you doing with that thing? Just let it sit there and get hot. Let me know when it gets hot. And I said, how am I supposed to? It'll turn red. You don't know when it's hot. So I said, fine, okay, where are you going with this? So anyway, you know where I'm going. And so finally, I get the thing. I said, it's hot. Is it hot enough? She's like, yeah, it's hot enough. And before you know it, she's actually has lined out or stepped out exactly. She's gridded out what she wants her plants.
Yeah.
And we took that hot can and it burned perfect little circles into that weed control mat. and it's everything she needs now for a footprint to grow her crops.
That's really
and then
cool.
everything else around that, you don't have to worry about the weeds.
Don't have to worry about it.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
But it does get hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being out there on that
My
black
word,
mat,
you
it's
cannot
hot.
stand it unless it's
Well,
early morning or late afternoon.
And
Yeah.
then when it's time for stuff to start getting ripe too, I mean, you just about got to check it every day.
You do.
Every day. I mean, if you don't.
You let a day get by this okra and you go from, palatable, desirable okra to out of control.
Yeah.
Almost stuff that looks like corn dogs. And
Yeah.
nobody wants that.
They're
A deer's
good
not
when-
even going to eat that,
They're not good when I get a certain length.
So, I don't know. I think small tract management is some of my favorite.
Well, it's cool because it's more realistic. It's more of a reality for more people.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. It is.
The-
Not everybody can afford 500 acres.
No, man.
No,
Right.
and this is
We'd love
something
to.
that's attainable.
Yeah.
And, I mean, y'all are kind of hitting all the different check boxes on here. You've got the wildlife management. You've got the opportunity for corporate events. You've got your homesteading. You've got the ability to raise the animals, the bees, all of that. There's fishing. There's everything. And you don't have to be a millionaire if you're just smart about
You're
how
right.
you break up your property.
You're exactly
Yeah.
right. And Bray, I think you would be a good one to elaborate on this. The value of bees to wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's immeasurable.
Yeah, man.
You're talking about pollinators here. And you're talking about wildlife that thrives on different food sources that are flowering, whether it's clovers,
Sunflowers.
native.
Sunflower, a lot of your fruit trees
A lot of
require
those
your
as well.
pollinators.
So a lot of the food sources that we're expecting or hoping our wildlife to thrive off of can be influenced by a simple colony of bees.
Yes, and that's something that I tell all of my clients. I think it's probably in every site summary I've done is that if you go back and manage at the insect level, everything else kind of falls into place because you think about turkey poults, they need insects. If you're managing for a proper native pollinator property, then you're hitting the check marks for those forbs, for the wildflowers. You're getting away from that grassy component that kind of, inhibits the ability for poults and quail chicks and stuff to move around. So if you're providing the food for those insects, you're providing the food for all of the native wildlife around here.
So what is it about the clover? I know it produces its own nitrogen, but what makes it so conducive? Why is so attractive for insects?
I think I'm not an entomologist. I can't say exactly why. It's a succulent broadleaf that it's easy to move around in. Beyond that, clover is readily available across the South, and it's very easy to manage. Especially your perennial clovers.
Climate tolerant too.
They're climate tolerant. It's just one of those that it's easy to do, easy to maintain, and benefits just about everything that you're managing for out here.
So are you a strong advocate of clover? Or
I
what do you
like the perennial clover, especially if you don't have the acreage to do a big 4 or 5 acre plot of soybeans, of corn, of stuff like that. I like to tell people your little strips. I mean, even if they're just 20 foot wide.
roadside strips?
Roadside strips, I've seen good luck planting clovers along those. There's a property that I just suggested doing that, like a crimson clover and wheat mix along the roadsides. It's something that I really lean on, especially on some of these smaller properties, because you get a lot more bang for your buck and a lot more a length of food availability.
Sure.
Because, you have a small property, you plant half an acre of soybeans, those are going to be gone in a day.
They'll never make.
Yeah. So I think I'm a big fan of clover.
I am as well. I definitely am, especially on smaller tracts.
Oh, yeah.
You look at all the parameter, areas that we have around the ag fields here. It's heavily, full of clover. And we do that on purpose because we want to provide a year-round, the longest food source that we can.
Yeah.
And so I know that when we're implementing new clover sites, I try to bring in at least 4 different varieties, 2 fall, in 4 in the, or 2 in the spring and summer. And if I've got 4 different varieties, they'll mature at different rates, right? And I try to identify those depending on what the area are that we're working in and what species are going to thrive the best. But I think if you can definitely do that and you can develop a good stand of clover that's got several different varieties maturing at different rates, it will definitely help provide a better food source.
I know I had mentioned the crimson clover and wheat. That's just something that it's going to provide even more of that longevity when you're adding a cereal grain or oat style mix. And it doesn't have to be the heavy planting rate that you would be doing if you wanted a full stand of wheat.
Right.
You just mix in a little bit more, and that will typically get you into the spring.
Right.
And then you got your turkey plots readily available.
Yeah. So clover does offer a big advantage, and it's got a lot of good qualities to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And not to jump back, I just wanted to say before I forgot, but you were talking about how just doing this on a small property, how satisfying that is, and it's just really cool, more attainable. I think there is something to be said for something like this that kind of does have everything. I mean, there's the wildlife aspect, and there's kind of the self-sufficient homestead type piece to it. There's something to be said about doing that yourself, how good that feels. Well, even to be able to not just harvest a deer or a turkey off of this place, but to harvest produce and, fruit trees and stuff that otherwise wouldn't be here.
Oh, yeah.
And now I say this all the time, Jeremy, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast, but one of my favorite quotes ever is a guy named Irvin McManus, and he talks about things being dreams or being goals or a concept, something that isn't here yet.
Yeah.
And then so he's like, people materialize the invisible.
Yeah.
I feel like mankind called by God to materialize, create things and make them reality. And that's just cool to be able to look around and be like, not too long ago, this wasn't here.
Yeah.
And now it is because of a very specific plan and because of making things priority, doing things the right way. Now it is a reality. And it's just really cool to be a part of it.
It does. And and I'll remind anyone when it comes to smaller tracts, you still need to have the major proponents that it takes for any platform to be successful. Y'all know what those proponents are better than I do, but you still have to have every one of them to be part of that factor. So you take everything, whether it's food sources, cover crops, bedding area, water, simple things like that, pressure. You take all of those factors in consideration when you're looking at both your short and long-term goals and what you can implement to help you achieve those goals. And I think a lot of landowners, they're not sure what their goals are other than I want big deer or I want more turkeys. But what is it going to take to get there? Do you understand the commitment? Do you understand the level of programming it's going to take to develop that? Then furthermore, what it's going to take to maintain it.
And are you willing once you find
out?
Correct.
Are you committed?
Are you committed? Because I know we've said it probably just about every episode. To see significant positive change on this, you're looking at 5 to 7 years, especially in terms of, deer condition, turkey populations, everything runs in cycles. And I feel like we live in this world of instant gratification, and I need to spend a little money, have somebody out here, and then immediately everything be better.
Well, that and even defining what, hey, I want big deer. Okay, well, what's your definition of a big deer to you?
You're exactly right.
So I want a lot of deer. Well, okay, what does that mean? What do you mean by a lot of deer? Do you want to sit out on a green field, food plot somewhere and see a bunch of deer in the field, or do you want to, be able to see deer on a trail camera survey, or what does that mean to you? Because
correct.
I've had people say they want more deer. Meanwhile, if you go into the woods, the deer are eating the privet and the greenbrier is bare. And, it's like, hey, you have the deer. You have the deer.
They're hungry.
Let's figure out how to tailor exactly what you're wanting to get the results that you're wanting. Because a lot of times they're there.
Oh, yeah.
there's too many of them.
That's more cases for me. More cases than not, we need to address the quantity versus the quality.
Yep.
You know, and herd management is key. Y'all know this, and I would rather have better quality than quantity. And this, I don't want to lead us down this rat hole, but you have to identify what you want to develop. If I can say that the right way, right?
Yeah, and there's a bar graph that I love to share that's kind of, it's a sliding scale of the number of deer that you have and the quality of your habitat. And that's going to be a constantly sliding scale. It's going to be, okay, I've got poor habitat, but a lot of deer. So I'm going to kill the deer, work on my habitat. Now my habitat's going to be, it's just one of those, it's a constant balance. And it's not a one-time action,
no,
and then everything's fixed. It is a constant for the life of that property while you're responsible for it. There are things that need to be done. There might be some pretty aggressive things that need to be done in the beginning, and you roll into a maintenance period, but you're never done.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't realize, like, there's no end.
Yeah.
On
Very
this
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
We have a client, point in case, that we discovered what his feed, I don't want to say utilization rate, but what he was going through and the amount of feed that he's using on the surface area that he's feeding on, and it just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. And when you try to quantify that, you're sitting here saying, there's no way. If in order to facilitate going through that much feed, you have to have this many animals. And if you got this many animals, your quality is really going to be suffering here. So you take some landowners that just aren't respectfully able to facilitate the maintenance that needs to be done. And I will classify maintenance in herd control. But at the same time, there's a lot more that goes into it, and you've got to be able to do selective management on both male and female. You get into the male side of things, and they bring out that C word. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody wants to throw up the block here, and that's just an excuse stuff. We're not going down that route hole. Y'all grow what you want to.
We have. We've gone on that route. We did.
If you want to grow that go spike out to where he's 5 years old, you go right ahead. You just go right ahead, and
that's right.
We personally know what the results that can have.
Sure.
So neither here nor there. I believe going back to identifying your goals, and a lot of these landowners aren't really sure what that might be unless
you
help them.
can't achieve what you can't identify.
True that.
So I mean, how do you know when you've gotten there if you can't identify what your goals are?
And most don't. So as we've been spending more time with our clients, helping them learn what other steps they could take or what other practices we could help implement and what it'll produce, they're like, whoa, yeah, let's get started right away.
Yep.
So
that is, Bray brought up a good point, though. There's no end in sight. It's not like we're going to get to a place and then go, okay, we made it. It's this is all this is going to be.
Every fall, every spring, you've got young coming around.
Yep.
And so those you're regenerating and developing, and you're not including the recruitment factor that any well-managed plan will develop. Because let's be honest, it's like having a great football team. And if you're a football player, you want to go be a part of it.
Sure.
That's right.
Right? And that's the way this wildlife is. When they hear about a food court that's going on, they can live out in the middle of the forest living on acorns and whatever they can forage, right? Or they can come over here to where it's handed to them.
Well, and that's what I always tell people, like, show me a map. What are your neighbors doing?
That's right.
And what, especially if, there's financial constraints, there's time restraints, let's focus on what you can offer that your neighbors can't. So you don't necessarily have to have, the top of the line. I've got the water and the food and the bedding and the different stages of succession. If you can provide what other neighboring properties can't, at some point you're going to bring those deer over there. And especially if it's something that you can provide during those critical breeding times, fawning times, antler growth, things like that. So that's why we say, what are your goals? Because we can make it as small as adding a couple food plots, or we can blow this thing out of the water and get you on a timber thin and fire rotation, planting, road work, water work, all
what
that
it really
stuff.
needs.
Yeah.
You know, and you talk about, you touched on the neighbors. And I think that's one of the most key proponents to any platform. You know, and the thing about it is, think about the success, and I'll let you elaborate on that a little bit. The success each individual specialized program could produce, provided it has a collaborated effort with the joining landowners. So if everybody in the joining landowners, if we all share common goals, sharing information, you know, sharing data, communicating about, you know, the upcoming potentials, right? Nobody wants to shoot a 140-inch 3-year-old. Everybody would like to. I know somebody in your office like, what's wrong with that? Can you imagine if you had a collaborated agreement amongst all your landowners said, we want to let this deer
we push
go to 5.
cooperatives
Just to
all
get
the
him
time,
to 5, which he's not mature. Well, his skeletal structure is mature, but he hasn't reached his full maximum potential yet, even at 5. And we know that through raising deer, right? So if we can get that deer at least 5, if he's 140 at 3, imagine what he would be at 5.
And then
But
you get
everybody
him to
has
6,
to agree.
7. Yeah.
If we could get that deer to 7, where we know they typically reach their maximum potential, this thing compacts it and gets compounded. As we allow each generation to develop and reach their maximum potentials, we're going to reach more potential.
Sure.
Right? Because we're able to get that out of those deer. We never allowed these deer, for the most part.
Touchdown, Auburn!
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I can
Sorry,
roll
we got
tide
bombed
today
here.
because we didn't play.
That's right. That's right.
But I don't think most properties know what their genetic potentials are because they've never seen them.
That's true.
And when you're killing deer at 2 and 3 years old, you know, you have no idea. A deer's skeletal structure doesn't stop maturing until he's 4.5 years old. How in the world can he reach his maximum potentials even at 5?
Yeah.
You know, you look at the average male who stops growing at 19 to 21 years old, and you see how different they are at 50. Filled out, gray hair, you know, different tone. I mean, but you got a pot belly, you know, a little gut on you. I mean, it's just still, it's just maturing process, and deer go through the same thing.
Well, and I mean, just simplifying it, to grow their antlers, they have to pull from their calcium stores in their skeleton. If their skeleton is not fully developed yet, they're not pulling all the calcium stores they can. If they wait until that skeleton is fully mature, then you're pulling all the excess. You're pulling as much as you possibly can, and that's when you see potential.
You know, and I know y'all both been around captive deer breeding a bunch as well. And how many times have we seen 6-year-olds pop? I mean, pop with the 25 to 30% increase. And it goes to your point. Their skeletal structures had time to mature. It's now not absorbing all of that mineral, because that's going to get it first.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then their antlers are coming next. But look about your does. Your does are actually developing your next generation trophy. So really and truly, it starts with her.
Well, and I've said it multiple times on here. Your buck's potential is determined with the environment in which he was born into.
Agreed.
It's determined on what time of year he was born. So that's where, when you have those skewed sex ratios in the extended breeding periods, and you're having fawns born into October, there's one of those aphids in my face. You're having those fawns born into October when we're typically in a drought period. The does are not getting the nutrition they need to nurse adequately.
True.
As the fawns mature, they're not getting the succulent green plants because they have died. And that sets the entire stage for what they could be at 6 or 7 years old. So you have to pay attention to the does. You have to pay attention to your breeding seasons, and you have to, that's where we talked about keeping those records. What were you seeing when your fawns were born that year? and then go back 5-6 years from now and match that up. But it all goes back to what they're born into.
Well, and there's also, I mean, the things that you can control and the things that you can't. You can't control if there's a drought.
Nope.
You know what I mean? If you don't get adequate rainfall, unless you've got some way to irrigate or whatever, then that's just completely out of your hands. But
you can control what you shoot.
Yeah, that's right. You can, trigger restraint for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know typically we go a little longer than this, but I think we're about to lose camera battery over there. I guess because it's hot outside.
How about this? I want to change the subject for a minute.
Yeah.
Ray just told me she's been hunting turkeys for 10 years and never killed a turkey.
We didn't say that. Hey, we didn't say that on the we didn't say it.
Right.
I'm glad that somebody else did.
I told Misty that.
Where are you in March? Because we're gonna fix this.
I think I'll be here.
Yeah,
Okay. We're gonna have to fix that.
We are. Well, I will say my thing was I typically only had 3, maybe 4 days a
Days to
season
go.
to hunt.
Okay.
I have now obviously changed my career path a little bit, have a little bit more free time, and I am bound and determined it's going to happen.
We're gonna have to make that happen. I mean,
Yes.
that's a long time to be hunting turkeys and never kill one. I mean,
Not everybody was spoiled.
Yep.
well, I had Eddie and I had Mark. So, I mean,
Spoiled.
Brock
That's
tried, and then I guess the third day of us chasing the same bird, we just ran right into him in the road, and I said, "I'm done.
yeah.
That's funny.
I'm done."
Oh, well, I tell you what, patience is the virtue. And once you break that ice, I think Lady Luck will start rolling your way.
Heck
Yeah.
You're too good of a woodsman to know that.
Yeah.
I feel
And,
like it's one of those things that the Lord is like, I'm making you wait for this until you have enough time to actually become addicted to it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, once you hit that, once the first turkey's down, you're going to be like, where are we going next and what
Yes.
state are we going into next? 'Cause-
Don't care what it costs.
Yeah,
Let's
don't
go.
care. Let's go to the next state. Let's, keep
Unlike
it going.
a lot of the newcomers to turkey hunting, I know you'll appreciate it. And that means a lot to me.
Yes.
For some of these new generation hunters, their techniques a lot different than mine, and hey, to each is their own. But I always welcome another outdoorsman into our
Especially being a
into our
girl. I
world.
mean, usually
Yep.
it's, when we're out somewhere, I'm only the girl hanging out with all the guys. And I'm
Yeah.
like, where are the girls
Where's
that
all the
that
women?
are turkey hunting? And they're like, "Psh,
I'm here.
Right.
We'll go hunt this year.
yes, definitely.
Yep.
We're gonna make
Mission,
that happen.
Get Bray a long beard on the ground.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
we might have to make that a personal goal ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's on like a lot of people's list at this point, and somebody's got to make it happen.
I think it's girl power.
There
Heck
you go.
yeah.
I think
Girl
so too.
power.
Hey, that
What's
would be
Alabama's
awesome.
limit this year?
Oh my
figure that
goodness! Well, I'm sorry, Misty, but the last time you had a microphone in your face, that's not what you were saying about turkeys. So let's clarify this up for the audience that
Well-
might have listened to both shows. I mean, let's be
I want
honest.
to tell you, raising George and watching that movie, My Life as a Turkey, it changed some things. I mean, just knowing what a turkey goes through, just being born and just getting to a 1-year-old. To me, I feel like I'm just going to stop turkey hunting and just incubate a whole bunch of turkeys and just let them go.
Okay, start that
Can't-
after
Yes.
turkey hunt.
Yeah,
So, Bray, this coming spring, when Misty's got a gobbler out there at 60 yards and he's just over that next knoll and he's gobbling his head off, let's ask her after about 20 minutes how she feels about that turkey.
Look, I'm going to whistle when he sticks his head up, you shoot, and
Okay.
we're going to be fine.
Look, I like George, but not
Yeah.
enough to stop shooting him in the face.
Yeah.
No.
Well, listen, Mark, Misty, thank both of
Absolutely.
you for
Thank
being
y'all.
on.
It's an
for
honor.
us.
Thank you.
It's
We
been a
really
long
appreciate
time
it.
waiting.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And I hope we get to do this, sooner rather
We
than
would
later.
love to
it
do more
again.
of
Heck
it.
yeah.
We really appreciate having the opportunity to work with you all. We graciously appreciate the support from the bottom of our hearts, and I mean that. There's no way our platforms would be as successful as they are without you all, and always allowing us to lean on you.
Yeah.
And we sincerely appreciate it, and our clients
Yeah.
appreciate
Well,
it. So
I will pass the sentiment on to them because all I do around here is run a camera and edit video. But we appreciate you guys having us out here, and it's just fun to
anytime
see how things have progressed and come along, and I can't wait to see what it does in the future too. So
one step at a time.
Guys, thank you for watching, listening along. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. Carrier pigeon, whatever you got to do to tell people what's going on here at Southern U. We've got some really cool stuff coming up in the future. We've set a date on the last episode. We're setting a date for this one to October 15th, which is opening day for most of Alabama for deer season. We got something that we're rolling out on October 15th as well. So we're going to be, podcast is turning 2 years old, so it'll be our birthday.
Wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah. And obviously we'll be fired up for deer season, but we got something else that we can't quite share yet, but we're really, really excited to bring it to you guys and actually let you, shed some light on what we've been working on for over a year now. So again, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.
We will see y'all on the next one.
Bye,
Yes,
y'all.
sir.